All right, so today we are going to go through how to create your budget for the Summer Internship Award. First, we're going to get started on the Center for Life Beyond Read's website, where you're going to want to navigate to Fellowships and Awards, and then scroll down a little bit to check out our resources. Once you're there, you're going to find a link to download the budget worksheet. You don't have to use this worksheet. It's not required. You are more than welcome to make your own, but this kind of gives you a template to get started so you know what elements to include in your budget. So we've downloaded it into a Word doc. And here is the budget worksheet that CLBR uses. And you're going to see that there's, a lot of options for what you can include in your budget. And the biggest resource that you can provide us in your budget is an explanation. A lot of students provide this as context because it helps the reader, us, the review committee, kind of understand maybe some of the more nuanced elements of your budget that aren't as obvious or clear. So we're going to go ahead and get started in filling in this budget here. So of course you want to include rent. So let's say that you live in an apartment with some roommates and your rent is $600 per month, and your internship is for 10 weeks. So you can go ahead and round up in this case to 3 months. We obviously realize that you don't pay rent by the week. So go ahead and round up to 3 months. That's totally okay. And then you want to make sure to provide accurate totals. And you want to be descriptive in 3 months of rent. So being as descriptive as possible in your budget is, of course, sometimes very obvious, but also very helpful for us. And especially with something like utilities, like let's say when you refer to utilities, you maybe only mean like water, sewer, garbage, electric. However, if you have, cable and Wi-Fi and other things that have to be factored in, you want to provide that in your budget section below. So we're going to go ahead and say utilities round up to maybe like $100 per month. Same thing times 3 months. And that's going to be $300. And then if there's anything else that's part of accommodations for housing, you may want to provide it here. And of course, being as descriptive as possible is always going to be helpful. Now, let's say, okay, we have our rent and utilities listed. You want to go down to this budget section here, the budget explanation for items above, and we'll put rent. You can say, I live in a 3-bedroom with roommates. We split rent. Therefore, my portion of rent is $600 per month. And you can do the same thing with utilities. I'm saying I live in a 3-bedroom with roommates. We split utilities, including water, sewer, garbage, electricity. Which equates to $100 per month for my portion. Something like that. Maybe providing a description similar to this for each of your budget lines. I know this feels maybe very obvious, but it really does help us as the reader to better understand where these numbers are coming from. With the food budget, CLBR caps your food budget at $100 per week. So just keep that in mind when you're designing your budget. If you've already submitted your budget or you've already, submitted your application and you realize, your food budget was over $100 per week, that's okay. We're not going to penalize you for that. But this is something we consider on the back end. If you are going to be interning somewhere that's like, New York City, Los Angeles, San Francisco, somewhere where the cost of living is especially high, we will keep that in mind. But in general, we do limit the food budget to $100 per week. So let's say your internship is going to be 10 weeks long. You're going to want to say $100 for groceries times 10 weeks. And then airfare and travel. So we are able to fund airfare and travel right now. So keep that in mind if your internship is taking place in a different state that you have to physically get to this summer, or if you need to drive your car and pay for gas. Those are things that we can definitely fund through the award. So let's say that you have to travel to, Los Angeles for your internship this year. You're going to want to provide definitely some notes on that, maybe even a link to the actual ticket, the plane ticket that you're looking at. One thing with airfare that you want to definitely keep in the back of your mind is, of course, that the price of travel is going to fluctuate between now and the time that you may be awarded the Summer Internship Award and get that money and be able to actually purchase that ticket. So you may want to round up a little bit in anticipation that the cost of your ticket may increase between now and then. So providing some description of, airline ticket, PDX to LAX, and we can actually maybe shorten that to just ticket. And then let's say it's, $300. And actually, let's go ahead and round up and say $400 because we're not sure how much it might cost by the time you actually get around to purchasing that ticket. And so now you want to go down here and say, airfare, and provide a description of, my internship is taking place in LA. I'll need to purchase a ticket and here's the link to the ticket and airline I'm planning to purchase through. So providing us a link to the actual ticket that you're looking at right now is really helpful for us. That way we can see the current cost of the ticket, and it just gives us a little bit more context. And same thing with travel. If you have a car that you're going to be using, providing us with an idea of how much the gas is going to cost within reason. The best thing you can do in this case would be to look at the distance between where you're staying and where your internship is going to be. And then considering the miles that you're going to have to be commuting every day, and multiplying that by the number of days and weeks you're going to have to be making that commute. And then depending on if you know your gas mileage for your vehicle, doing some basic math to establish how much that's going to cost you every day in gas money. So that's obviously going to differ for each person, and I'll allow you to do that kind of mental math to figure out how much your gas is going to cost. But you'll want in your notes section to provide that clarification of gas and saying, my internship is 10 miles from my apartment. and that's 20 miles round trip times 5 days a week. 100 miles per week times 10 weeks. That's 1,000 miles. Let's say you get, you get 300 miles per full tank gas. And it costs $35, let's say, or let's just say $30 to fill my tank. So obviously that's not a perfectly whole number, but I guess it's worth saying it's about, let's say, $100 worth of gas. Don't check me on that math, but something like that that kind of clarifies what exact math you're using to quantify how much gas money you're going to need is definitely important to put in this note section here. So we're going to say, going back up here, gas per vehicle, $100. And then we're going to look at miscellaneous. These two sections you can go ahead and skip. These are not relevant to the Summer Internship Award. So we're just going to cross those two out for now. And then equipment. So considering anything that you may physically need to successfully complete your internship. Within reason, of course, but equipment can, qualify as, if you are somebody who's working from home, and you potentially don't have like the necessary equipment, like a desk to work from to do a remote internship, like that's something you can absolutely include. If you say like, I need a desk to physically work at for my internship, you want to put desk from, let's say, IKEA. And obviously like the cost, let's say it's $100. And then here you'll want to say, equipment, desk, and then link to the IKEA product. So that way we can see the cost and clarification of, I currently do not have, a desk in my bedroom from which I can work from to successfully, let's say, work from full-time to successfully complete my internship. And then anything else. So if you are somebody who has like prescription lenses, or that you maybe have like therapy appointments that you have to pay copays on, any medication, really just any additional funding that you need that is a part of your cost of living throughout the summer, you'll definitely want to include. If your internship is in person and you need just like professional workwear to go into the office each day, that's definitely something you can include. And let's say you budget for, professional wardrobe. Let's say you budget for $200. And then you'll want here to say, other wardrobe for work includes, shoes, link to shoes, button down shirt, link, pants, link and you get the idea. So that way we have an idea of like what exactly you're looking at online, how much that cost is for the wardrobe that you would like to purchase. And then once we have that total project budget, you want to go through and make sure your math is correct. So that's 2,000, 3,000, 3, 1, 2, 6, 9. So we're just under $4,000. Less funding from any project total. So this section is if your amount is over the funding limit, you'll want to address, you know, any other additional funding that you plan to provide, either from your savings account or whatever. If your budget is over the limit, you'll want to provide something here, a number that is going to be the remaining amount, and in the notes section, provide a note about how you're going to cover the remaining amount of that budget. And that's all we got. And you'll want to make sure here to provide, you know, your duration. I think that helps to say, you know, like 10-week internship from, you know, June 1st to, what would that be, like August 14th, theoretically. Again, don't check my math on that. So that way we have just like a quick idea of like how long your internship is, when it starts, when it ends. And that way everything here about the months and the weeks kind of connects. And again, if you have any questions about this, please feel welcome to reach out to CLBR. The biggest part about making a budget is the notes section. The more details, the better.